Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Intentional Productivity Tips. I am Megan. I am your very favorite strategic productivity partner, and I want to thank you for spending some time with me to think about your productivity. Why do we do this show? We do this show so we can talk about the tools, the processes, the habits, the mindsets that you can embrace and add to your life, real actionable steps to add to your life so that all of the things you've worked so hard for, you can enjoy, so that you are living your life and getting things done at ease. Again, I want to thank you for being here with Intentional Productivity Tips today. You are watching us on USA Global TV and Radio's YouTube channel, where please take time to like, subscribe, and even be notified when new episodes drop. I'm not going to lie. I like it when I get likes on my shows. I didn't realize how much it would bring me happiness, but it does. So thank you for all those that have, and think about it. Anyways, so we are here with Intentional Productivity Tips. And in June, we have been working with a series that I have been calling Productivity Preferences. This is our third episode. And today we are going to be talking about connecting your productivity preferences to your tools. So we're going to talk about three things. So again, this is the third part of our series, which does mean that there have been two previous parts to the series. And with that, one of the things that we talked about in the first part of series part one, and the links will be in the show notes, in the first part, what we talked about was meeting your superhero, your productivity preference superhero. There are three. We're going to talk a little bit about them. So we've talked about meeting your productivity superhero, what that means to your productivity preferences. We've also talked about the fact that in different productivity situations, we may wear different capes. We are human beings. We are complex. We have many layers to us, especially when it comes to productivity. So we want to peel back some of those layers and identify that we have a productivity superhero preference. And we also might wear different productivity preference capes when we are in different situations. So we had talked about those over the last 2 weeks. Last week, we also talked about how to connect our productivity preferences to our habits. And we talked about our processes. So today, we are going to review tools preferences. So we're going to look at specific tools you might use and how you can use your productivity tools preferences to make your tools work for you even better. I'm going to show you two examples. There's two examples we're going to connect to. I'm actually going to show you my boards so you can see when I talk about a party for my eyes, this is what I mean. So let's get started and let's think at the big picture really quickly, right? So let's think about what is a productivity preference. Productivity is personal. Whether you excel with structure or flow or a mix of both, knowing your style is key. When you align the right tools to match your preferences, it not only reduces stress, but also boosts creativity, making the process of getting things done more enjoyable and efficient. And when you think about it, isn't that kind of what you want in life? So we have identified and we have talked about three productivity superheroes. Again, link below can take the quiz if you want to learn a little bit about yourself. But we know that we have been talking about 3 productivity superheroes. We've been talking about Stewie structure, Fantasia flow, and Lulu BitaBoth. Stewie structure is for that person in your life or even yourself who, when it comes to productivity, their day planner is very organized. They might have tried several many apps to monitor and follow their time. Stewie structure, when you look at their calendar, it's probably color coded. When you look at Stewie structure's file folders, they're probably named and numbered and organized. Stewie structure is the type of person who likes to have things organized, structured, outlined, and clearly defined. Is that you? We love Stewie, and there's a place for Stewie in all of our lives. Another option is Fantasia flow. Now, Fantasia isn't as much of a fan of that structure, where Fantasia wants to set up the systems and processes to be able to flow and to do productivity when productivity works for Fantasia. For example, Fantasia isn't going to be able to say, tomorrow at 2:00, you're going to work on this project. Fantasia is a little bit more like, tomorrow you need to have these projects done. Or are you a little bit Lulu BitaBoth, right? There's also Lulu BitaBoth. Lulu has sometimes when Lulu is very structured like Stewie and wants organized. And there's times when Lulu wants to be able to have some flow. So Lulu likes to be able to have both structure and flow in their productivity tools, habits, and processes. Do you know a Lulu? So one of the things we want to do is identify our productivity superhero, because that helps us understand ourselves and how to set our productivity up for success. Again, we are incredibly complex human beings, and we're only getting more complex with the internet, access to the world, and access to everything at the palm of our hands. So one of the things that we know is that while we have a productivity superhero type, that isn't all we're solving for when we're coming up with our productivity habit systems and processes. We know that there's the person, but we also know that there's productivity situations in life, really, when you think about it. So when we think about it, there are situational capes that we wear for specific issues when it comes to our productivity. Now, again, in episodes 1 and 2, we talked about those, but we are specifically today talking about our productivity tools. So when I'm talking about our productivity tools, what is that I'm talking about? I'm talking about how it is that we organize our information. Now, some people still do it by paper and pen or, files, and that happens. We also know in 2025, we have an amazing access to tools, right? We know that there are an amazing amount of tools and resources out there that we can use to organize everything in our personal and professional lives. The question is, what's the right tool for you for right now? One of the reasons we've talked about your productivity situation is we can start to identify when it comes to the tools that are organizing my projects, my priorities, and I'm doing work in, I need to understand a little bit about me, right? Do I want that tool to be Stewie structure where everything's very regimented and automated and everything is very organized? Yay for you. If that's the way you're going to set up your tool, yes, let's do that, right? Going in, and I've had many, many clients who they want very structured, their tools to be very structured. And I say, yay. Also had many clients that are like, okay, I want the tool and I want the guidance, but I don't want it to be so forced. I want to be able to have some flexibility and some flow, Fantasia, right? So what we want to do in getting to know our productivity preferences and our superheroes specifically today is so we know how to make our tools work for us. So for example, what tool is right for me? When you think about it in 2025, there are so many choices. Asana, Trello, Todoist, ClickUp, Rike, Monday, Pipedrive, Basecamp, right? There are a lot of options. And I'll have clients that say to me, what is my best option? Or what option should I use? And I'll always say, it depends. Let's look at what you're going to use it for. Because the reality when it comes to picking the tools, today we have an abundance of tool options, each originally designed with unique features and flavors, right? Over time, they've evolved to seamlessly integrate our productivity. By understanding our preferences and choosing the right tools, we set ourselves up for success and a smooth, efficient workflow. What this means and why I'm really talking about this is, again, so I remember, I'm going to take it back circa 2014, 2015, 2016, right? So that's when I released 2014, 2015 is when I started working with clients with Asana and Trello. And for those of you who have been in Asana and Trello for that long, we know that at the beginning, Trello was the Kanban style and Asana was a project style, right? If we look at Asana and Trello today compared to 2014 and 2015, mind-blowing, right? Because now we have integrations and automations and they have grown. Then we've had new tools that have come in, and we know now that we have abilities and they've all improved, right? We know that Todoist has a great way to prioritize tasks for people who like tasks and like to organize and view a task in that way. What I always tell clients and why we want to know why we want to know our productivity preferences when we're setting up our tools is because then it helps us set up the tool that is right for us. And that's what is important. We need to begin to identify what are the preferences for the tools, right? Again, most of the tools very, very similar, right? Comes down to pricing, comes to access, comes to personal interest, and what we need the tool for. So we're going to look at two tools today, right? So before we do that, let's think again. So we've been talking about the tools. Let's think a little bit about the tools, thinking about our productivity preference, right? So we want to think about, are your current tools that you're using helping you align with your preferences? So the tool you're using for your project management priorities, right? For the tool that you're using for your projects or project work, is it working for your preferences? If not, what changes can you make to personalize them? And that's an important thing to do because we want to, again, look at what is it that we need? How is it that we're going to personalize it? How can we make it better? How can we make our tools work for us rather than our tools working for our tools? Didn't a great president say that one time? Ask not what we can do for our tools, but what our tools can do for us. Oh, maybe not. Anyway, something like that, right? But it is important, I think you understand what I'm saying. So I'm going to share with you two different specific examples. And I will say I use two different tools in my productivity life, right? So when it comes to the tools that I use to keep me organized, my priorities, to track everything, I use two tools. It is important that we personalize our systems, and we have to be fierce to use the right tools for you. So that's why you want to be intentional and align your tools with your access, purpose, and functionality, right? I said I use two tools. I use Kanban Flow for one, for personal, and for all my I use Kanban Flow for my priorities, projects, everything, both personal and business. I use Monday for tracking content, tracking goals, tracking current projects. There's very specific reasons that I use both. But again, if we're going to personalize our systems, we need to be fierce and find what works for us. And so I know that I need to have two different systems. And that's okay because I'm paying for it and it's my life and I can do it. Remember what we say? Productivity is the one area you get to be completely selfish. Then you need to customize, to be fierce and personalized. Set up and customize your colors, set up and customize whatever is on your screen. I had a client one time who was really upset and he's like, I don't like to have this. And I said, then what do you want? No judgment. It doesn't matter. What do you want? We can create it if it's the right tool. So we want to find the tools to create what we want. Use what works. If a tool works for you, keep it. Don't use what doesn't work. If a tool's not working, change it. Keep improving. The way to be fierce with your tools is to keep improving and continuously refine. We know, again, we're in a time where tools are improving. I mean, when you think about it, Taco Trello email updates with what's going on, Monday's going on, right? We know that we know that the tools that we use are being enhanced and updates. There's new versions. So learn from those and use those. Make it enjoyable. A lot of times that I have some clients, and some clients still look at me with one eyebrow raised when I say this, if you don't like if opening up your project dashboard priorities, if it doesn't give you some sort of excitement or joy, You need to redo it because you need to be excited about what you're opening because it's your life. And so we want to be happy and excited and make it work for us. Create a setup that you want to use because then you will. When we think about it, there's a lot going on in this world. There's a lot coming at us and notifications. We don't have to look at our tools. We can make it through our day without it. But looking at our tools is going to make our jobs and lives easier. So make it enjoyable and interactive. So let's talk about those two examples that I was talking about. So as I have mentioned, I use Kanban Flow. I use that for organizing and goal setting, and that includes my personal life, my business life, and everything. For me, I like it. You'll see why in a few minutes. But something like a Kanban Flow works really well for someone like a Stewie structure because, again, they have control over the organizing. They're able to add and to create the foundation however they want. They can be as structured and detailed as they want. Go, Stewie, go. Get that structure in your board if that's what you want. Or if you're Fantasia Flow, you're able with Kanban Flow to be able to say, okay, here's the structure that I want. Here's kind of the guidance. It's not forced. It allows me to go with my flow, right? Or maybe you need to schedule a little bit of both. So we're going to look at Kanban Flow. We're also going to look at Monday.com. Now, Monday.com has been, for a very long time, I said I was tool agnostic, and I am. I support clients. My clients, I've used a lot of different tools. I have found and have really enjoyed Monday.com. I'm not going to lie. I am an authorized partner, but that's not why I'm saying that. I became an authorized partner because I love it. I like what you're able to do with Monday.com and the automations, the boards that you're able to set up, and all of those things. And so for me, I love Monday.com for task management. I like it for project use. I also like it for content. It's what when I work with a team, I like Monday for teams because it's easier in the things you're able to do. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to actually look at two specific tools. We're going to look at Kanban Flow and we're going to look at Monday. One thing I don't know if I've ever mentioned to you, I have the opportunity, not only do I get to host this show, I also get to produce this show. Thank you, Dr. Jacqueline. So today I'm going to try something new. Normally you see me in a presentation, and again, that's my comfort zone with producing. I can do it. But today, because I want to show you the screen, I'm going to change, and we're going to actually look at my systems and flows. So I want to show you a little bit again I'm going to show you some Kanban Flow information, and I'm going to show you some Monday information. This is my personal board. This is my personal Kanban board. Again, this tracks my priorities, and this tracks my projects, and this also tracks my life values, right? So one of the things that I have is I have information in my Kanban board that has my path, my intentions, right? I am able to add not just my goals, but I was able to format it in a structure that works for me. As I've said, party for my eyes is important to me. One of the things that you'll notice with the Kanban Flow is you're able to color code it. So what I have done, and what I've done with several clients, is personalizing the swim lanes, personalizing the Kanban Flow columns, if you will. So the way I look at it as, what are the new now tasks? What am I doing this week? What am I doing this month? Next month, this year, next year? Then I have a someday maybe list and my done list. For me, organizing it this way, it helps me to look at projects and begin to look forward. So I like to do it that way. I also, for example, in my new now, these are the topics and projects I'm currently working on right now. So you'll notice I have them labeled in a specific order. Next, damn it, this is what I need to do next. So that's what I've got there. Then you'll notice I always talk about labeling, time tasking, adding task time. So what I do is when I'm going to pull my tasks over to be able to do, I'm going to list them here with the task time so I know how much time I have. Then I also, because again, this is for me, I have this week, I have what are the tasks or what are the things I'm going to do this week on this specific day. Because this isn't just my business priorities and goals, this is my entire life. I also have identified what are all the categories in my life that I want to have, and I've color coded them. And so I know this week, this month, next month, this year, what am I doing for the different categories in my life, right? What am I doing? One thing is I'm a spiritually mindful, calm responder. That is one rule I would like to have in my life. So there's things I do every week or every month, right? Logistics for SPP, logistics for business. So when you think about it, the goal and why I'm sharing all of this with you is to start to think and identify what is the tool that works for me? How can I personalize it just as I've personalized it here? So this is how I like to use Kanban Flow. Then I also, as I've mentioned, I love some Monday. So let's look at a Monday board here. I like Monday boards because the way that Monday is organized into workspaces and boards, then documents and collaboration tools, it breaks things out very clearly. The other thing that I love is that Monday has a great amount of templates that you can use, or you can create your own boards. And Monday also allows you to have automations. One of the things that I have done is I have tracked in the past, I've used Monday to track all of SPP, Strategic Productivity Partner programs. So I have used it to say, okay, here are the programs, right? Here are all of the programs that I've been working on or that are in process. I'm able to identify the status, effort to complete. I can add, one of the things I love about Monday is, in some senses, it's a spreadsheet on steroids, but you can add different kinds of columns and different information so that you have everything in one place. So you've got links, so you've got notes, so you can sort it and organize it. Then what I love about Monday is you're able to also have multiple views, right? So if I wanted to have a Kanban view of, hey, here's all the categories of my programs, right? Or here's the effort it's going to take to complete, right? This is possible now, high cost, high money effort. I'm able to organize programs in different ways. I also can create dashboards in Monday that allow me to kind of identify, again, this is specific for my programs. So all of the different programs that I've got, I'm able to identify it, right? Going back to the main table, another thing and reason I love Monday is, again, as I mentioned, automations. You're able to create automations that say, and to do when this date happens, when this status occurs, if this hasn't happened, you can email people. Monday, like all tools, is great. You're able to integrate Calendly, Gmail, all of the different tools, Harvest, right? So what you're able to do, again, and this goes back to our productivity preferences. Our productivity preferences help us to identify how much information do we need, how can we best present it and access it, and how can we share it when necessary. So that's why it's so important to look at. For example, one other thing that I have done in Mondays, I also track subscriptions and domains. You know, we all have our subscriptions and domains. So again, to share these things with you, okay, we're going to put the producing hat back on. We're going to come back here. We're going to make this look really pretty. And we're going to come back here. What is important when looking at the tools that we're able to use? Again, my goal today isn't to have you create a board like I have. I have spent years creating boards that work for me. My goal is to show you this is what you can do, or if you're intentional, and by getting to know yourself, by getting to know, see, this is why also by getting to know your productivity superhero, we're able to say, I am Stewie Structure, or I am Fantasia Flow, or I am Lulu BitaBoth, right? In my life, I am Fantasia Flow, as I've mentioned. But we also know situations arise. As you've seen, when it comes to my project board, I am very structured because I like the way it looks. I like there's things that I want on it that are important to me, and it helps me get things done. It also helps teams. As I mentioned, I have used Monday for content I've worked with my team my team, and that's how we're able to communicate and post social media. So when you think about it, we're able to identify, once we know our preferences and once we know what we need to organize, we're able to look at the tools and find what works for us. So what's next for you? What can you take from this? How can you connect your tools with your preference? So what you want to do is you want to, again, identify and align your productivity tools with your preferences based on, are you Stewie Structure? Are you Fantasia Flow? Are you Lulu BitaBoth? I challenge you to ask yourself, are the tools that you're using in alignment with your preferences? Because if not, what adjustments can you make? Take the time and make them now so that you are able to access your information, so you're able to access your projects, so you're able to access your priorities, so you're able to know where information is. I promise you, There are times when I've had clients say, Megan, I can't spend all of that time organizing my tool. And I get it. It's going to take time. And I promise you, it will be worth it in the end. So I want to thank you for being here today. And I want to challenge you, as every week, that you take at least one thing you've learned from today and you incorporate into your productivity life. You are watching me on Intentional Productivity Tips. I want to thank you for being here. Again, this is the third part of Productivity Preferences. Next week, part 4, we're going to put it all together, and we're going to look at how you can take control of your productivity, your life, and your time so that you're working smarter, not harder, and enjoying the life you've worked so hard to create. Thank you for joining me today. Please come back next Thursday at 2 p.m. Pacific for part 4, again, where we're putting it together. You are watching me on USA Global TV and radio, and I want to thank you. When you get a chance, like, subscribe, even be notified of new episodes, not just my episodes, any of the episodes available. I want to thank you again. Be intentional with your productivity. It will be worth it. I'll see you next week. Here is a word from our sponsors.
Meet Lady Ella, a special ladybug who was trained by Grand Beetle on how to listen at an elevated level. After earning her gold wings, Mother Earth and Father Universe asked her to travel across the solar system, teaching life lessons to creatures to respect one another and to listen. Learn more about her travels in the book series, The Amazing Adventures of Lady Ella. The Amazing Adventures of Lady Ella, the Listening Mentor. Lady Ella's ABCs of Listening. Lady Ella has afternoon tea in London. The ocean calls and Lady Ella listens. Lady Ella listens in the Baobab National Game Park. Lady Ella's space adventure across the universe. The magical adventures of Lady Ella and her super-powered friends. There are also collections of colouring books for parents and kids. Providing world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Join our team of elevated listeners to teach children elevated listening skills. Lady Ella would like to teach you and your family how to listen at an elevated level. If you're interested in learning life lessons as well as how to communicate more effectively as a family, go to Amazon and order Lady Ella's books. They're all there just waiting for you.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USAGlobalTV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dyes. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.